I mean, come on. Murray, and you just dunk it in that broth. Yes. Yo, what up, hammies? It's your boy BP Ham, and today we're doing a recipe test of Maangchi's Tteokbokki. This is a Korean street food, and it's like a spicy rice cake. Me and my friends love making this and sitting around a table with a bunch of fried foods and just dipping it in, talking, drinking, and even adding some ramen in there. Oh, it's so good. I've been following Maangchi for a long time, and I love her recipes, so excited to share them with you. So let's get started. For this recipe, you're gonna need Korean hot pepper paste or gochujang, sugar, rice cake, dried anchovies, dried kelp, Korean red pepper flakes, fish cake, we got two kinds here, eggs, and green onion. The first thing she says in her recipe is to make the anchovy stock. And anchovy stock really brings up any Korean type of soup dish or base that's gonna be using some kind of stock. And this is like what they call a golden liquid. And that's made from anchovies. Like, don't freak out too much because it's so good and you don't even taste that anchovy flavor in the final dish. It just kind of gives it an umami kind of kick to it. So what you're gonna need is anchovies. You can get these at the Korean market and just freeze them because you get like a whole bag of them. So I just pop this in my freezer. And her recipe says we're gonna need 7 of these. So pick out 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They have the heads on here and like an intestine that runs through here. So you kind of pull the head off and kind of peel out the intestine. If you don't like get it all, like I haven't noticed a big difference, but if that stuff kind of freaks you out, just do that. So I'm gonna quickly just do that, and you see the intestine kind of comes out with it. And really, if you don't want to use anchovy stock, you can use like chicken stock or water, but it's just not gonna be as good. So we got those cleaned up, and now we're gonna add kelp. So this is dried kelp. This is a huge pack because we use a lot of it, but you can get this at the Korean store, any Asian store to be honest. We actually have a smaller pack we've been using, and she says use a 4x6 square, and I think that's about the size of someone's hand, but it doesn't have to be perfectly exact as long as you got a square of kelp in there. This is not a 4x6, but it's like a square, and I don't want to like break it up more, so I'm just going to use that. And then we're going to add 4 cups of water to this. But before I do that, I'm gonna take this outside to the balcony inside of a New York apartment. The smell will go all throughout the apartment and your roommates may not enjoy that. So if you do value your friendships, take this outside. So it's super cold out here in New York right now, and we got our 4 cups of water, and we're just gonna pour that right into our bowl. We got our little makeshift setup. I got a little, what is this? My like bed desk kind of thing when I'm laying in bed working. And I got our portable burner, and I just gonna turn this on to high heat. You might want to do medium-high heat if you're doing this inside, but the high heat outside here kind of helps counteract the wind and the cold. So we're gonna put that on high heat, bring it up to a boil, and then let it simmer for about 10 to 15 minutes. While our broth is simmering outside, we're just gonna prepare some ingredients inside. In Maangchi's recipe, she says we're gonna cut up some green onion. So we're gonna cut them into about 1 to 2 inch pieces, and we're gonna save one. These ones are kind of small. We're gonna save one for garnish on the top. So just cut off those root ends. We're gonna do about 1.5 to 2 inch pieces. Doesn't matter if some are bigger, some are not. And then she says for these smaller ones to cut them in half. So we're just gonna cut them in half like so. And then you're gonna get your other onion, and then you're going to cut this one at a bias, which is like a diagonal, just for the garnish on top. Mine's not as pretty as hers, but I'm just an amateur. We also need to use fish cake. I have 2 different kinds. She uses these fish balls, but I also like these kind of like sheet ones. So I'm gonna use some of these and some of these. So I'm just going to get the sheets. I'm gonna use 3 sheets and then just cut them in half and then cut them into triangles. 3 might be a lot, so if you want to use 2, go ahead. Hopefully this doesn't overflow my pot. We also got some eggs. I have 3 roommates, so we're gonna have 4 eggs. She uses 2 in hers, but there's more of us here. Since there's 3 other people here, I have an egg for each person. And I boiled these to like a medium soft hard boil, 8 minutes in boiling hot water. So we're just gonna peel these up. I'm so bad at peeling eggs. This is probably gonna be a disaster, but I bought some nicer eggs because those ones seem to be easier to peel. Oh, not too bad, not too bad. All right. See, I messed up. I told you, I was going too fast. It's all right, the yolk still stayed in place. BP ham. And if I was you, I would crack these over like the trash can and not the cutting board next to all your other things, just in case you got an eggshell flying in. That texture in your tteokbokki is not gonna be pleasant. And what I like to do is rinse them under cold water just in case any eggshells are still on the outsides. And then finally, we're just gonna mix together the hot pepper paste with some sugar and some hot pepper flakes so that we can easily put it into our anchovy stock. Her recipe calls for 1/3 cup hot pepper paste or gochujang. I love this stuff, so just get a 1/3 cup of that, put it into a bowl. And it doesn't have to be exact. You can use little or more depending on your taste, but we are doing a recipe test, so we're gonna do it exactly how she wrote it. To this, we're gonna add 1 tablespoon of hot pepper flakes. I keep these in the freezer and they last forever. And this stuff is spicy, so if you can't handle too much spice, I would put less, but if you want more spice, put more. And then 1 tablespoon of sugar. I would do the sugar first instead of the hot pepper flakes because I had to rewash this. It was like all red. So just add 1 tablespoon in here. And then we're gonna mix this up all together to get like a uniform paste. And I like to use a spatula, kind of makes things a lot easier. I have these small spatulas. Gets that all incorporated in there. And then you can easily get most of it off of the sides and into your broth. I think our broth is ready, so we're gonna go get it and bring it inside. So as you guys can see, it got a little dark outside. It gets dark really early in New York, so I had to bring my light out here. Sorry if it's blinding to you guys, but we've had this anchovy stock simmering for about 15 minutes. Because we're outside, it doesn't really boil up, but if you're inside, it's probably gonna be bubbling at this state. Now we're gonna take it inside and finish the rest of the dish. Let's go! Our broth has finished simmering, so we want to take out that kelp and that anchovy. Make sure you leave all those juices behind because that's the good stuff. So I just get one of these strainers and then I just push out all of that delicious flavor before I discard of these. And then just get all those anchovies out as well. This should yield about 2.5 to 3 cups of stock. The star of this dish is obviously rice cake. I got these from our Korean market. Usually can get them in the packet as well, packaged in the refrigerator section. This is 2 pounds, so we're only gonna use half of it. Bring your stock to a medium-high heat, and then we're just gonna place in about half of these rice cakes. I'm just gonna eyeball it, put those straight in. I think Maangchi also has a recipe where she makes her own that I really wanna try, but that takes a lot of work, I think. So we got about a pound of those rice cakes in. I'm gonna add just a few more because I have a couple roommates. Stir that around, and then you're gonna add in the paste. Got that hot pepper paste, just putting that right in, and the heat should help dissolve it. It'll continue to dissolve as this cooks. See, with the spatula, you can really get most of that out, but if you don't have one, just put some of that hot water in here and help dissolve that into the broth. Spread that around a little bit. And I purposely wore a brown shirt today because I know I would splatter this all over a white shirt. So just be careful. This is red and it's very vibrant. To this, you're gonna add in your green onions. Make sure you save some for garnish. Wabam. And then you're gonna add in your fish cakes and your eggs. We got our flat fish cakes. Just putting that all throughout. She said half a cup of fish cake or fish balls. I'm gonna put a little more because there's more people to feed, you know. And then your eggs. This egg got a little messed up, but we'll just hide it in there. She says to simmer this for 10 to 15 minutes and it's gonna get all nice and glossy, and that rice cake starch is gonna help thicken the broth. As you can see, it's been simmering for about 10 to 15 minutes. It's glossy, and I actually like it more at this soupier consistency because I like to dip stuff in it, like ramen or anything fried. It makes it so good, and this broth is so tasty. Grab our green onions and just garnish it on the top, and we're done. Turn off the heat and let's taste it. I mean, come on. All right, so now we're gonna taste test this. I'm so excited to eat it. It looks so good. So we got the tteokbokki here, and then I also made some kimari earlier. So this is like a seaweed roll with glass noodles inside, and I fried them. I made a video on this. It's so good to dunk anything fried, especially these, in this broth. I had this in Korea last time I went, and it was mind-blowingly good. And probably my most favorite thing I ate as a street food. I'm just gonna get a plate ready. I'm gonna put in a rice cake, an egg. My chopstick skills are trash. An egg, fish cake. So we'll see how I cook this egg. So let me just cut that open. Oh yes, look at that. I like my eggs a little jammy in the middle. Ooh, perfectly cooked. Let's do a rice cake first. It's sweet, kind of spicy, and the rice cakes have a really nice chew and bounce to them. Fish cake, good. Egg. Who doesn't love a good egg? I mean, wow. I'm gonna put my chopstick back in here because that's how we're gonna eat with my roommates anyway. I just want another rice cake. And we got our kimari, and you just dunk it in that broth. Yes. I mean, the flavors just go together so well. And me and my roommates are about to have a slamming dinner. I give this Maangchi recipe a 10 out of 10. It's really easy and it's so good and reminds me so much of the food that I ate when I was actually in Korea. So if you guys want to try this recipe out, I'll link her recipe down below, and you can use this video and her video kind of as a guide. And if you like this video, please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. Give this video a thumbs up and comment below on any recipe that you guys want me to try out or test. I got you. Until next time, peace.